The inside of Coates.
Barker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Hello everyone and welcome to the VRRC TT Cup for the League of Champions. My name is Daniel Handover and joining me in the commentary box for the second time this week is Mr. Dave Marshall. Dave, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. You know, second night in a row for us and you know, just as excited tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic fun. And we are indeed at Paul Ricard. This is you. If everyone thought Monza was all about slipstream, you've got a good 20 seconds of flat out straight going down the back straight. So this is going to be, may even see like potentially 2 position changes down 1 straight, which is going to be absolutely fantastic to watch for us. I mean, Dave, following on from Monza, what a track. Probably not the, I mean, out of, obviously for me, anyway, not the track that I probably favour most of driving, but to commentate on, I think this is going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, well, this is a first for me for actually commentating on Paul Ricard. And I've actually driven it very few times, probably once on a set of Corsa and once on a set of Corsa competition as well. So, you know, not that familiar of a track for me, but things that really stand out about here is learning what the track limits are straight away. You know, as we can probably see in the visual below, you know, a lot of the track is used by paint and it doesn't have really any gradient to the track. So it's really quite hard, you know, actually spotting corners. So learning how much of the curb you can take in certain areas can be a huge advantage. And until you sort of run the risk of running off track, you don't find that until, you know, you run the limits. But also the other thing is a lot of the corners, sort of the second to last or third to last corner, you know, a long sweep and left-hander where it's, you know, almost looping back on itself and tightens at the end can be really hard when driving in the cockpit view. You know, that air pillar on the front of the cars normally always blocks your turning in point. So it's a super hard track for consistency, and it comes down to, you know, which driver's probably built the most muscle memory to really, you know, get the turning points right.
Absolutely. Not in terms of, like, I suppose, like normal things that people need to look out for. This is definitely something different. As you say, it's more muscle memory that kicks in because the track is so flat. Like I said, there's no real, or it's maybe difficult to get some reference points. We've got currently free practice is underway, as we can see, with Kenny Press, currently riding on board with him in P13 for warm-ups. Just want to touch on, actually, obviously, this is the last round. This is the last series in the League of Champions. It's been a fantastic set of racing series that we have seen. It's been absolutely fantastic of what we've got moving forward with obviously everything. I mean, the racing has been absolutely fantastic in all different disciplines. Apologies, I was getting a little bit confused. So we have got 2 more rounds. We've got 2 more rounds left. So we've got this one, obviously, which is happening now, and then we've got the final finale at Silverstone. As we can see there, thank you very much, Mike, who brings up and puts me back on the straight and narrow. So There we have. That's it. I'm getting confused. We re-ran Monza, Dave, so that would be where I'd be getting confused. Like I said, we're back on track now. We're back on track. But no, I think Paul Ricard. It's definitely going to be something that I've personally not commentated on either. And as you say, I think the drivers have got a certain select different challenges, which is going to be interesting to see moving forward. Yes, lots of prizes up on offer day, which I'll let you go over just a bit more in depth before we really get underway for qualifying. So yeah, like I said, talk us through the prizes that these guys have got on offer, which, let's be honest, is wrapping up relatively quickly.
Yeah, so to be fair, you see you got a little bit lost, but I was actually sort of following that because this is the last championship in the League of Champions, which I thought is what you were referring to. Yeah, so obviously, this is where basically this championship sums up who can possibly wrap up the League of Champions, but obviously, Jack is currently winning the overall, but at the moment, it's not really worth looking at that until we're maybe looking in the last round of the TT. But definitely it's coming into play now where this is the last championship. Drivers are really starting to think of them bigger prizes which are on offer for the overall league. So that's the likes of the wheel prize for a full wheel, a base, and a set of pedals for top prize. We've got another set of pedals. We've got a simulator. So yeah, some cracking prizes on for offer. But yeah. It's the trophies and the hats for the individual championship, isn't it? Drivers really like to win as well, so don't think that there isn't prizes for this individual championship as well now.
Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. I don't know if you saw that, Dave, but Jack Mcintyre utilising the straight down the back straight to his advantage, and I mean, he practically left his car. He could have just left his car on cruise control. He could have gone off, had some dinner, and then come back. He was, no hands on the wheel. I mean, in terms of driving, obviously, you've got to be a little careful. I don't think he'll be doing that in the race, but it's just. Well,
you say that, but I believe, don't hold me this. There was a Le Mans E-Series race held that had Charles Leclerc driving. Do you know what I'm going to say? And he was eating a yogurt down the Le Mans straight during the E-Series and nearly missed his breaking point. If anyone's interested, go and search it on YouTube. It is there somewhere. But yeah, that's what that reminded me of there.
I don't think anyone, that's going to be something that I've definitely not YouTubed before, is Charles Leclerc eating a yogurt nearly crashing. It's definitely going to be an interesting on the browser history. But anyway, so we've got just going to go. So everyone's out on qualifying now. They're on their out lap, as you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen. So Max Goff is on his out lap. So Jordan Brennan, this will be, I believe, his first, won't necessarily be a flying lap. Actually, no, this may be his first flying lap, actually. So he's 3/10 off Rob Butler with a 2:21.479. So that's top of the timings at the moment. Obviously, they will come down. Similar to what we had with Monza, Dave, this is the place to be in terms of if you can sit behind someone and you can get a draft and get pulled along, that's a lot of lap time. Like, let alone Monza, which is what I think 3/10 people were saying. This is probably going to be more than that, I would imagine.
Yeah, so just as we're getting towards the Blue Bridge, which is the mark of sort of the end of the 200 on cue there, 200 yards before the corner. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? Yeah, basically that's the sort of marker for the braking area, and we're just getting near the top end of sixth gear there, but you're never going to hit the limiter there unless if you're in the slipstream or you've got push to pass activated. So this is really a track where if you've got a slight a team or a person like you work with well, this is where the advantage will really hold itself, because you can just get probably 2 to 2.5 tenths on that straight alone in tow and slipstream. So especially in qualifying where push to pass isn't available, that slipstream can be invaluable really to try and get it on pole.
It can be indeed. No, this is very true. It can be indeed. Jordan Brennan, look at that. Currently is still in P2. Is he going to improve? We're going to find out as he crosses the line in a few moments. Actually, no, he's not going to. There we go. Yep, 2:07. So Rob Butler was a 2:07.334. Jordan Brennan was a 2:07.873. Edmondson, I believe, has just put in. Look at that. That's Goff that's just gone in there. Currently, all the times are flying, and now I can barely keep up. So we're just actually going to briefly move away from the timing tower, because there's no point looking at that yet until everyone really starts getting their time on board. Dave, yes, you mentioned a good point. You do mention a good point. So what we've got here in terms of the push to pass, I mean, to be fair, there's only going to be one place where push to pass is going to be used, let's be honest. It's more so about where it's going to be used, because you've got such a big, long back straight that you can really, I mean, I don't know about you, but personally, I'd be using it almost halfway down, and I'd be utilising any draft that I could get if I was sitting behind someone, and then I'd utilise the push to pass as far as late as I could, so that at the turning point of going into the back straight, or going into, that'd be turn 8, you're carrying as much speed through as possible. That'd be for me anyway.
Yeah, so we just saw a glimpse there. Robbie Stapleton's right out the back of the track in the orange car. There's a really long right sweeping corner there as we come onto the straight. Now, if you're really smart, you might possibly use that push to pass maybe just a second before you turn into that right-hander. So then you have it coming onto the straight and it's activated, and if you time it just right, you can get another push to pass before the straight's actually ended. So it almost get 2 push to passes in that distance alone.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So there could be some more tactics there. I mean, like I said, we saw tactics at Monza, and I'm sure we're going to see exactly the same thing here. Before we do get any further, I would like to say, if you haven't already, please make sure you'd like, comment, subscribe, get involved with the chat as well. We like being able to catch up with people and seeing who's about. It's absolutely fantastic to chat with everyone. And yeah, like I said, do make sure you get involved. So I said, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. That would be absolutely fantastic. Also would like to see as well, let's this day, this would be one for the people that are watching. Who are you supporting? Do let us know in the comments. We will obviously see who has got some supporters here. Dan Zelos, I'm sure, has got some supporters in the viewers at the moment, so welcome people that are supporting Dan Zelos as he goes in his very, actually I was going to say he's decided he's going to go in the pits, grab a fresh set of tyres, and off he goes. Luke Weston in P9, 1.4 seconds currently off of Butler, who is still pole position. Jack Mcintyre, though, look at that. I know we've said it before, but for a car he doesn't necessarily like driving, well, this isn't his preferred driving sort of style of driving. He's doing well in second at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. So as I said, this is a track that's very much about finding the track limits, and it's something Jack's always been really good at, is learning the track super quick, finding the limits of the track, what's acceptable, and driving it absolutely 100% to them. So fair play to Jack to put it within 0.2 of Rob Butler at the moment in pole. It shows the commitment and how fast he picks things up. But yeah, Rob Butler put that time on pole. It'd be interesting to know whether that was with slipstream as well, actually. There's obviously another 2 cars on the grid that is sponsored by his heating shop there, so be interesting to know whether he's worked with them to really try and get that slipstream down that back straight, because as I said before, it's completely invaluable, that really.
It is indeed, yes, and like I said, we're going to see all of that going forward, going through into both races. Just ticked under 7 minutes left to go. Carroll seems to, you can see the timing tower, Andy Carroll's name has gone red, so he's had a bit of an excursion somewhere. The only problem is it's as much as it's nice actually having as much runoff as Paul Ricard can offer, at the same time, the only problem is there's no gravel, or there's minimal gravel traps. So if you do have an off, there's a very, very high chance that it's going to be met with a wall shortly after.
Yeah, so that's actually exactly the concerns of drivers in real life regarding Paul Ricard. F1 tracks are starting to go away from using massive gravel traps as runoff and starting to concrete and have these painted paved areas. Now the problem is, and I've experienced it on the sim, if you lose the car somewhere there, you don't scrub the speed off nearly as quickly as hitting a gravel trap. So personally, I actually think on a sim it feels almost more dangerous, even though yes, you can sometimes get it under control and not lose as much time by running on it, but there's more chance you're losing control of the car, spinning off and putting it in the wall because there's no gravel to slow you down.
No, this is very true. This is very true. We actually were told as well from Mike Yao on the broadcast that Rob Butler's lap time was with quite a sizable draft, apparently. So that would be why he is 4/10 clear. That's taken away nothing from the fact that he is incredibly quick. But yeah, that could be why the gap is slightly bigger than we would have potentially seen. We could see someone else. Depends if you get lucky and you're sitting behind someone down that back straight, then obviously we could see these times actually close up. Yeah, Rob Butler at the moment, a man on the top step. I see that is, I'm just having a look, I can't actually see Jack McIntyre's lap time on the timing board at the moment, so potentially there could have been, I'm sure that will come back to us in a second. So yeah, Jordan Brennan 3rd, Edmondson 4th, Dorman 5th, and Carroll 6th. So Andy Dorman had a very, very good race, as well as Andy Carroll. Andreas Rillig, P7. I'm actually looking how close it is. So you've got, that is Dorman, Carroll, Rillig, and Goff, all within about 4/10 of one another. You've got Weston actually behind in 9th, with another less than a tenth behind, half a tenth behind. So I think the midfield is going to be very, very close indeed. Also, got Michelle Dunn saying in the comments, saying, I'm obviously supporting my lovely son Jordan Brennan. So good luck there. So there we go, Michelle. Thank you very much for tuning in as always, and obviously Jordan doing very, very well in P3 at the moment, with I'm sure more time left in the bag. Look at that, 5 minutes, under 5 minutes left to go. With so. Yeah, like I said, I'm actually, do you know what, Dave? I'm not too sure what to expect. I know what to expect at tracks, obviously, where we've been, Monza and such, but I've never really, as I said, neither of us have commentated on Paul Ricard. I've raced at Paul Ricard before, but obviously now being the other side of it, I'm not entirely sure what to expect. I can almost have a guess of what's going to be happening. Like I said, it's very going to be similar to Monza, and the race that we had there was amazing. But yeah, this is going to be a track that I think it's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I will be thinking as a driver, you've got quite a technical start at the track. You've got, 4 or 5, quite tight sweeping corners. That, to be fair, if you go side by side, especially on an open lap, you're going to lose quite a lot of time. But then it's straight that long after them corners, you're almost going to be battling not to be first down that straight, because you're guaranteed. If that car's within a slipstream space behind you, you've lost that lead by the time you get to the end of that straight. Whether or not there's enough space for a driver to then overtake and then the driver behind that to get past again, I'm not sure. But it's questionable whether or not actually going onto that straight in first place is a good thing or not, because I think it's almost guaranteed you won't be first by the end of that straight.
No, this is, like I said, it's one of those things where it's not a guarantee at the moment. Like I said, it's almost a guarantee. You are correct indeed. We've got Biscuits on that says hello. So hello, Biscuits. Thank you very much for tuning in. Look at that, Jack McIntyre currently on board. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, that is a very serious-looking Jack McIntyre. I know that he said, like I said, his car, not the preferred driving style of car choice, but he's doing, like I said, very well. A direction change, almost just sort of really smooth as well. Look at the steering input. The car gets put into the corner that was going through turn 2, and then it's left there. There's really no adjustment. So Jack has really got this car dialed in at this moment in time. Jordan Brennan, the gap has actually increased. I wonder if Jack McIntyre had a bit of a toe there, because the gap has now come back down. His lap has actually been reinstated on the board, and he's now just under 2.5 tenths behind Rob Butler. So I think, Dave, looking at the times that we've got, so the time between McIntyre and Brennan, I don't necessarily think that gap is actually on 100% race pace merit.
No, I don't either. But at the end of the day, does that actually matter? No. I mean, we're going into the race here where slipstream is going to play such a major part in this race. The racecraft of, if there's 2 drivers that go onto that straight, that lead guy knows he's going to get overtaken. But it's down to the guy following to almost resist and not go for that overtake straight away. Otherwise, the guy who's just got past will get straight back past again. So we saw a very similar thing in GT4s around Nürburgring. Me and Jack had quite an infamous shootout there, where I knew if I overtook Jack on the last lap on that straight away, he was going to get us again before the end. So, you have to commit to it at the time, but you won't go, I need to leave this, so there's only about 5 seconds left of the straight, nudge out, get the overtake done, and then defend it at the next corner. And it's thinking ahead like that that's going to see the winner in this race for sure.
It is indeed. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's weird to say that with a sprint race, but yeah, you've got to play the long game. Like I said, I say this every single time, and people that are watching are probably sick and tired of me saying it, but it's so key. It's a marathon, not a sprint, even in something like this, because you've got to pick your exact place and opportunities to overtake. You need to. And yeah, I think going into turn 8, just after the back straight, that's obviously going to be a key position. So I think come the last lap of both of these races, there's going to be some fireworks kicking off. I am almost sure, and I'm sure Dave, you will agree with me on that. Andy Dorman just going to go through the last corner, turn 14. Is he going to improve on P6? He's got a couple of, actually, he's not going through turn 6. That is, sorry, turn 14. Where is it? I've completely lost my train of thought. That actually looks like he's going to go through turn 11 now.
That's just on the main straight.
That's on the main straight. I tell you what, Dave, I'll let you crack on with that, because I need to get my bearings here.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a really impressive performance at the moment by Andy Dorman. A second off the pace of a guy who we know's had a slipstream for that lap as well. So, when I said slipstream's probably worth 2 to 3 tenths, you take that off Andy Dorman's time, he's only 3/4 of a second off. So, this is really all to play for when it comes down to push to pass in the race. It's going to be one of them where I don't think I can even predict what's really going to happen. We're just going to have to, commentate as the way it plays out. And, obviously Rob is looking very fast, and Brennan. They are both, on the same team, the Riggs Esports team. So them are going to be strong together. If they work as a unit and go forward and try and break that toe to Jack mark, then they're going to be looking really strong together. But Rob and Walters down there in 5th place is not going to want to just sit there for very long, is he?
No, he's not indeed. You're very, very true. But look at that. With his qualifying over, that's gone very, very quickly indeed. So Rob Butler takes pole position, but not by much. Look at Jordan Brennan, last lap that he did. And he put in an absolute steamer of a lap with just over a 10th behind. And Jack Mcintyre, again, very, very close. Just over 2 tenths behind as well. Andreas Rillig, does he improve? No, he doesn't. So he's still in P8. Andy Dorman, is he going to improve now on this P6? I don't think he does. No, his last lap time was a 2-minute 8.3, so he does not improve. Who is left out on track? We've got Andy Carroll is coming through. That is, I can't see what corner that is. That potentially is coming up to the last half of the lap. I think it is. Yeah, that's going to go through into turns 9 and turn 10.
I tell you what the problem is here, Dan. It's one of them tracks where, with the paint on the corners, every corner looks the blooming same.
It does. It does indeed. I'm sure we'll get used to it with the camera angles that we've got. But yeah, that is going to come through now. So Andy Carroll, like I said, not too far off of finishing his last lap, and he's actually one of the only person. Obviously, Jack Mcintyre, he's obviously finished. He's not improved on his P3. So yeah, like I said, he's not going to call it. We actually, to be fair, we've obviously got a couple of the drivers finishing. But in the meantime, we do have Rob Butler. While we wait for race 1 to kick off, we have Rob Butler to have a chat with.
Yeah, I'll go down and have a chat with him. So we'll go down into the interview booth with our pole sitter for race 1. Are you there, Rob Butler?
Yeah, David Marshall.
There he is. So, interesting track, isn't it, Rob? With such a long straight, we were just talking about a strategy where it's almost like, yes, you want to get pole and it gets you extra point, but going on to that straight, you're not necessarily wanting to actually be in first position, are you? Because of the amount of slipstream you get.
No, but look, what you get on lap 1, you'll get on lap 2. I'm just working out the race laps now. I think it'll be about 11 laps, so it should work out. That'll be leading after the last lap.
Yeah, it means if you keep swapping places, yes, you're probably right. The maths would mean that you have the advantage, but how worried are you about that straight? Is it going to be a case where you're going to only lose one place if a driver gets in the slipstream, or is it going back to them karting days where slipstream is really, really important?
Yeah, well, look, I think Jordan's behind. I was busy trying to get push to talk working to be able to do the interview, but I think Jordan's in P2 from what I've seen. So yeah, being a teammate, hopefully he'll tuck in under my rear bumper and give me a good push away if we can drive away. And yeah, look, a 1-2 for the team is most important at the minute, and good championship points. So yeah, race 2 is going to be interesting though, isn't it, with the reverse grid? So we'll take it as it comes, and yeah, you know me, Dave, I'll race it as hard as I can to make sure we come out on top. Yeah,
well, there's never any doubt that you always race hard, Rob. So I'll let you crack on, and good luck putting going forward into race 1, and well done for putting on top.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Speak shortly. Well, there you go, Dan. I think we're definitely getting the feeling that Rob's up for a race here, isn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I think that would it would be silly to think that there wouldn't be a race on his hands. So yeah, like I said, he knows that he knows as much as obviously team. You've got to try and play obviously to the team as well and play with the team at the same time. On the other foot, it's racing. Everyone is here to make sure they want to do well. They want to be on that top step. So
yeah.
This is going to be, I think, one of the hardest races Rob's ever done.
If I'm honest, though, he's saying, Brennan's in tucked behind him. He thinks he can work together to go forward as a team. But honestly, the length of that straight, if Jordan doesn't go for the overtake, then Jack Mack will see that opportunity and overtake both of them in one go. So, I don't know whether Rob's quite thinking the strategy of how long that straight is, but I think this is going to throw a real spanner in the works regarding race strategy.
Well, this is true. This is true. We're actually just being told we've actually got some promo videos. We're going to cut away to some adverts. We're going to be back with you very, very shortly for race 1 of the VRRC League of Champions round 3. So do stick around. We'll be back very, very shortly.
Got something that I want to. Talking about me, talking on beat, talking about walking on
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the VRRC League of Champions Round 3 here at Paul Ricard. My name is Daniel Handover, and joining me in the commentary box as well, just about to get race number 1 underway, is Dave Marshall. Oh, this is going to be exciting. This is going to be exciting. Obviously, Rob Butler is currently on pole position. He's going to have a fight with Jordan Brennan, his teammate just behind him. Is there going to be some working together? I wonder. But actually, just before we cut to the adverts, one thing I wanted to touch on, Dave, is I know you mentioned, I think they're going to have to slipstream. They're going to have to slingshot each other to try and pull away from Jack Mcintyre, who is going to be wanting that first place.
Yeah, I mean, what Rob there was talking about working with Jordan, you know, using the slipstream and working together. But the problem is, on simulators, any sort of bump drafting, that causes a bit of front-end damage, a bit of rear-end damage to the car you're hitting. So actually, in the long run, they don't really want to bump draft. They want to just work forward and get forward together. But if they keep tripping each other over on that straight, Jack Mack will be in Jordan's toe when he gets past. You know, that is going to be a recipe for sort of disaster, really, when we have 4 cars in tow, all trying to get past the lead car, and the lead car's trying to get back into the pack. Oh, I don't know. This is going to be a bit feisty, I think.
It is indeed. It is indeed. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, to be fair, we're going to find out in about 20 minutes or so who does come out on top for this race 1. As you can see, the lights are on the main screen. They're going to be coming on in about 5 or so seconds. We are going to be getting underway for round 1 of the VRRC League of Champions here at Paul Ricard. Lights are on, and away we go. Now, who is going to get the jump? I don't know, but everyone seems to get a bit of a even start push to pass off that they can use straight from the word go. So I wonder who is going to be using that as we go forward. Jack Mcintyre seems to be sitting in 3rd position. We've got Butler and Brennan. No real movements here, but a side-by-side going to go through potentially 3 wide. I thought going to go into turn 1. Decides against it. So that was Jack Mcintyre, Edmondson and Walters, I think, that are all going to try and go through together, but they don't. They drop back into single file. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, 2x2, potentially 3 wide going to go through into turn 4. This is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Again, decides against it, so there's going to be some 2 wide action. I don't know who that was. That was Robbie Stapleford. A last-minute lunge going into turn 3 on Andreas Rillig. Makes the move. What a move. That was absolutely fantastic there. Capitalising the opportunity. Very, very good. He tries to do the same again, but can't quite match it. That was on Andy Carroll, but what a move from Robbie Stapleford straight now. He's putting it, that was 3 wide as well at the back. That was Rillig. That was actually Zelos, Weston and Goff. They're going to go 3 wide, going to go through into turn 6 and out into turn 7. Oh my goodness, they're still going to go 3 wide or 2 wide. Oh my goodness. Yeah, what a move from Robbie Stapleford. That was fantastic. Look at that, Brennan. That is Brennan going to go through. That's Jack Mcintyre on the inside. So the move has already been made. Push to passes again. So Jack Mcintyre has already used the push to pass. Jordan Brennan hasn't. But this has allowed Butler to create a gap. Look at that, 8/10 of a second. Something I didn't expect to see this early in the race.
Yeah, so Rob Butler's had an absolute corker of a start, and straight away he's managed to break the toe of the 2nd and 3rd place. So absolutely mega start by Rob, and Jack Max really pounced as well. You know, he's got past Jordan Brennan there as Robbie goes through on the inside of Andy Carroll there. Another great move. You know, that move we saw there beginning with Robbie is, you know, something we worked through a bit in coaching, and it's just where if you're going for a move, you've got to be committed enough for the driver in front to go right. He's going for that move. I can't really defend it. He's there, you know, turning after him. It's the times when you're half committed to a move and you leave your car half the way alongside, you end up with a driver cutting across the front of you or anything like that. So as we see there, Andy Carroll, a great move up the inside, but that puts him around the outside in the last corner. A little bit of argy-bargy, and will this leave them open for Andy Rillig going towards turn 1?
I was going to say, yes, Rillig is actually going to come back. He's going to want to make a move back on Andy Carroll, so they're going to go, I don't know what's going to happen. Andreas Rillig, he now pulls out of the slipstream going into turn 1. Is he going to make the mistake? Was Robert Stapleford at the moment? He's going to try and utilise this opportunity to check out from this battle here. So Andreas Rillig, he's going to go through. Yes, he does indeed. At the moment, he takes provisional P8, although Carroll is not going to give up that position that easily. He's already going to try and make the move back coming through. Can he quite? I don't think he's got track position at this moment in time. Who's going to be later on the brakes? I think it's Andreas Rillig. No, it's not. It's Carroll that's still going to go side by side. Thinks twice of it. Does back out. I think Andreas Rillig was actually going to put him in a position where, I think he almost forced him to back out of that position there. Great racing from these two here, but that's now, look at Luke Weston, only half a second behind. That was Rillig going a little bit wide. That's going to compromise him going through into turn 7. So potentially we're going to see here another move. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, Andreas Rillig, he's a sitting duck at this point. Not only from him, not only from Andy Carroll, but potentially from Luke Weston as well, because he's not only got one car in front of him, he's got two that he can draft off of.
Yeah, so this will be true test really. Andy Carroll has used the push to pass early on. He's got in the slipstream, and look at that. We're only halfway along the straight, and job's nearly done already. You know, both of these drivers will be sitting at near the top end of 6th place, so you lose a little bit of pulling power towards the end of the corner, but once you're half a car alongside, that's job done anyway, going into the right-hander at the end of the straight.
Indeed it is, but no, Andreas Rillig decides against it. He wants to make that move back already, and I think he's going to do it. That's going to go through into turn 9, almost a corner that feels like absolutely forever. That was Carroll going a little bit wide, so Andreas Rillig's putting him under an incredible amount of pressure. Tries to get the cover. Look at the wide line he's taken, trying to capitalise on and take as clean a run as he can, and square the corner off as much as he can going through turn 11. Can't quite do it though, so he actually loses quite a bit of time now. The gap is 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, I think that was actually Andreas Rillig just catching the back of Andy Carroll on that long right-hander. So I think actually Andreas Rillig there backed out to give the place back. It's great racecraft actually. It's what we really like to see in the community. So fair play to Andreas.
No, indeed. Like I said, we've seen this before. We've seen this throughout the League of Champions, and we've seen this obviously again here. It's been, I said, fantastic racecraft, and these guys are being really respectful of each other, which is absolutely fantastic. I've seen as well as Jack McIntyre. He's got the head of Jordan Brennan again. So I believe that bat, and the gap is actually, I say that the gap is 0.2 of a second. It's actually quite a lot less than that now. What's going to be, you can see the gap on the left hand side of your screen. You can see that it's just hovering just under 0.2. But Rob Butler, the gap is still about 0.9 of a second. So the gap has increased, but I don't know potentially what's going to happen here. Obviously, the gap is absolutely going to come down. I would have imagined Jordan Brennan's probably in a perfect position to take the move back in P2. So this is what Butler needs. He just needs to, I suppose, just keep his head down, keep hitting his marks, and then off he goes. Look at Rillig. So he's wanting to make the move back on Andy Carroll. This time, see if he can do it. So almost a role reversal now going to go through. Or what are we going to see? This is on board now from Jordan Brennan on Jack McIntyre. What is going to be moved done? McIntyre doesn't even bother to defend, and there's absolutely no point. They don't want to lose too much time, so he may just have to let this position go and then try and do exactly the same next time around. Look at that, Jordan Brennan on the timing tower. It has been done even before the move, even before the actual corners. They both managed to take the normal racing line. Yeah, that just goes to show how long this straight is, because you can get the move sorted even with push to pass being used for both drivers, and you can still pull away on the draft and cut back in before turn 8.
Yeah, so I think for me the prime strategy there was we saw both Jack and Jordan use push to pass really early on in that straight, but you saw once they get in 6th gear towards the end, the car just runs out of performance really. They both end up in sort of a dead heat. So if somehow that following car can get right under the bumper of the car in front while it activates push to pass, get in the slipstream, and then when the car in front's push to pass runs out, then activate theirs to get an even bigger advantage to make sure they're properly clear. That'll be a great strategy. Whether it's possible, we might see it in this race.
We might do indeed. This is very true. Like I said, that would personally be the strategy that I would use. That's what I would do, and use as late as you possibly could, as long as you can actually still keep in that slipstream going down the back straight. Luke Weston, look at that. He's just got a train of Audi TTs in front of him that he's going to want to get past. But I think he just needs to bide his time at this point. So you look through, the gap is about 0.8 of a second, so it's pretty even going up the grid. So he's hoping at this point, obviously Weston is just hoping for some racing to be happening. So Rillig and Carroll, obviously they want to continue with that battle moving forward. Look at that, Jack McIntyre, you can see the onboard just popped up on the right hand side of your screen. Is he going to make the move back on Jordan Brennan? I mean, to be fair, I would put money on that the move is going to be made. He looks to be quite close. So let's have a look again. On the left hand, they've actually both activated their push to passes, as you can see. So actually, no, he hasn't. So Jack McIntyre has actually used his really early, with Jordan Brennan hasn't used his yet. Look at that. He hasn't actually used his push to pass. Is he going to wait for Jack McIntyre to pull alongside and then he's going to use it? I wonder. Let's see how this works. Although at the moment, no, he doesn't. So Jordan Brennan, look at that. He's saving them as well. We saw this a little bit at Monza. He's really sort of saving them up. He doesn't want them. He wants to make sure that he can actually use them, obviously. But interesting stuff. And look at that. He hasn't actually lost that much time. So if I'm honest, David, I don't think push to pass really actually loses you too much time if you don't use it, providing you can actually stay on the back bumper, like you said.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, these cars, once they get into 6th gear, they're pushing a huge amount of air. You know, that massive wing on the back, the splitter on the front, even though the cars are relatively coupe-ish, you know, and they cut through the air, the amount of drag them wings create is still massive. So, you know, the amount of power it takes to get that car to keep accelerating is obviously huge. So, especially at the speeds we're seeing down that straight, you know, that push to pass adds about 50 horsepower. So what that's basically saying is that slipstream that they're getting is probably equivalent to about 50 horsepower as well.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that onboard shot, a virtual onboard shot of Andy Dorman. You can just see in the rear screen, Stapleton, who is wanting.
Go on, Dan. Little question. That helmet there, what brand?
Oh, that is a Shirth. I think a Shirth.
It is indeed.
There we go. I know my helmet brands. Right, going to go through into turn 2. That's Andy Dorman. Like I said, you can still see sitting on board as well. Robbie Stapleford, he's got his headlights on. He wants this position from Dorman, but Dorman doing a very, very good job putting his car exactly where it needs to be, going a little bit defensive there. Don't really think he needed to do that. Look at that bit of actually opposite lock correction, because the rear is actually trying to swing. This is what happens one of the things of front-wheel drive cars. You start braking, all the weight shifts over to the front. Obviously, these are front engine, so you've even got less weight over the rear. That's when you can potentially have the rear wanting to rotate. If you can manage that, it's a very, very fast way. Almost use the car and use that brakes to rotate the car round on corner entry. I mean, if you can really sort of nail that driving style, that's a very, very quick. I've just seen Stapleford look at the gap now. It's 3/10 a second. His push to pass is currently regenerating now. Dorman has used his, and now they're both even Stevens. We're going to see the gap now starting to come down. Well, it should start coming down in a moment. It's slowing down now. Yeah, there we go. So now roll reversal. Look at the timing tower. It's now starting to come down ever so slightly. So look at that. So Dorman used his push to pass later, and it fared better going through into turn 8. So yeah, I think that's the way to go, Dave, is just use the push to pass as late as you possibly can, because you want as much power performance when you're cutting through the most amount of air.
Exactly that. You know, the other tracks, it relies a bit on getting that push to pass down early, using it for the acceleration, because the straights aren't that long. But that straight is that long. It's exactly what you said. The bigger gear, the more wind resistance on the car. Having that extra 50 horsepower there is almost crucial down that straight.
It is indeed. So Robbie Stapleford, like I said, still can't quite find him past. Obviously, he is in P7 still. He had some really, obviously, the pace at the start he had was absolutely fantastic. It seemed to, I wouldn't say he's dropped off, but he maybe just be sitting there in a position, just so you know it costs. We just seen, look at Jack Mcintyre, fastest lap of the race, a 2:06. I believe that is a 2:06.683. So just under, or just over 3/10 quicker on that lap than Rob Butler. That's interesting. Look at the gap now, because the gap between the two, between Mcintyre and Brennan, has now gone to 1.1 seconds. And the gap between Mcintyre and Butler is well within a draft window. So with 8 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock, this is going to be... Oh no, what's that? That is Robbie Look at Stapleford. I don't know what's happened to Stapleford, but he's now dropped all the way down. Oh dear. His car is looking definitely worse for wear. I'm not entirely sure. I may have completely missed that, but he's had a hefty incident, because his car is definitely looking worse than it did at the start of the race.
Yeah, that's definitely hit something very hard with the front end, hasn't it? Not quite sure what has happened there, but, you know, I did get out a shot there, him going into turn 1. He clipped quite a lot of the outside curb, which really puts the car quite sideways. You see Jack Mack actually going for the overall lead here, so he's really, you know, bit of the chance of putting that fast lap in, getting right on the back of Rob Butler, and that's a job done. But get ready for fireworks, people. This is going to get fair-Larry, I reckon.
It is indeed. Look at that. We've still got 8 minutes left in the race. That's going to be Jack Mcintyre. He's going to try and defend, but is he going to defend too much from Rob Butler? I don't think he will do. Actually, no, I say that he is wanting to. He still wanted to keep that position here. Going to go through turn 9 into turn 10. It's going to be Rob Butler. Has inherited the lead once again. So Jack Mcintyre couldn't quite keep it past him, but he's going to try and do the cutback now. Look at that. He's going to carry on wide and try and use the cutback, try and square the corner off as much as he can. But look at that. Rob Butler decides, nope, he taps the brakes. Just to be fair, he's doing what he needs to do. He needs to slow the car down, but just doing it at the exact moment that Jack wanted to do the cutback, so couldn't quite let him pass. But he has managed to get on the outside of turn. Wow, that's very, very close there through turn 13. They're still side by side pretty much. Look at Brennan. Brennan's decided that he wants to get into a piece of the action now. Exactly what Brennan wanted. He knew that as soon as these two were battling, the gap was just going to close down so fast. And obviously now look, it's now a three-way battle for the lead. If these guys keep battling how it is, look at Max Edmondson. He's not too far behind. That's 2.5 seconds. We saw the gap go from 1.1 seconds to 0.3 between Brennan and Mcintyre in the space of about 5 corners. That 2.5 seconds, if these three now battle, this could be a 4-way battle, maybe even a 5-way battle with Rob Walters only just 2 seconds behind Edmondson. Oh, that's going to be, look at that, Jordan Brennan on the inside, brakes a little bit too late, so that's now caused him to go ever so slightly wide going through. That was turn 4 and 5, but what a move, yeah, exactly, what a move from Brennan.
Yeah, that was a great move. That was, you know, I didn't know whether he just hesitated there going, oh, maybe I shouldn't have put my nose that much up the inside, but you could tell he just committed enough. Jack saw the move, not really much you could do about it, and I actually thought Jordan was going to really overrun that, managed to get it stopped, got it turning for the left. There's nothing Jack could do there. That was just a really good calculated move.
No, that was a bump draft. That was 100% a bump draft there. You just saw the little skip that Brennan's car had, Jack McIntyre bump drafting him along. They're both wanting to catch back up. I mean, to be that is, if that was as good as any indicator that these guys want to work together to catch back up to Butler, then I think that was as good as any. I'm sure Brendan was not wanting, he probably wasn't expecting that, I think, coming through. But yeah, no, great stuff from Jordan Brendan. Like you said, almost like as you say, like a small amount of hesitation going to go through. But then he seems to sort of, he seems to have almost looked like he just released the brakes, maybe a little bit too much, but he released the brakes and obviously made that move. But as you say, Jack McIntyre, respectful, knew where the move was coming, and then defended as much as he could, obviously to a certain stage where he did have to concede the position. A very mature driving style. That's one of the things that you also need to do as a racing driver. It's not about how much you race and how hard you can race, but it's also when to essentially just give up the position and move on. Because otherwise, if these two had kept battling, they would have lost even more time to Butler, who's currently actually extending his lead and is now 9 tenths ahead.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, it's starting to look a bit like the way the race started off again. So, you know, we saw that took about 10 minutes for the race to develop, where Jack Mack got through, you know, was challenging for the lead. So with only 4 minutes left, is this role reversal? Has Rob cooked his tyres a bit? Did Jordan purposely drop off a bit just to get his tyres back in that window? And now he's putting the moves on, going to try and make a push.
Potentially. I mean, look at the gap. The gap's already 5 seconds. The gap's now gone up to 7 tenths of a second to McIntyre, and it's now gone to just over 6 tenths of a second, down to 7 tenths of a second from Butler. So he is catching up. That was very, very late on the brakes there from Brennan. He's caught up a little bit more going through. And again, look at that. Brennan is just an absolute stormer on the brakes at the moment. Look how much he's catching up. You could visibly see how much that Brennan was catching up to Butler there, but this is now going to kick off. They've both activated their push to passes, 6 apiece, but McIntyre with 7. So as we can see there, actually no, apologies, look at that, Butler's only got 4 left. That's not going to be potentially good for Butler, because he's got 4 minutes left of the race. He's only got 4 push to passes left. With how far he is, or how close Brennan and McIntyre both are to him, that's potentially going to be that's going to be a big turning point, I think, there, Dave.
Yeah, that's massive, isn't it, around this track? You know, that one extra push to pass could be absolutely crucial. But in saying that, there isn't going to be another 7 laps in the remaining 3 minutes 30 left of the race. So, you know, having that one push to pass, which is crucial for that back straight, you know, Jordan Brennan, even though he's got 1 less push to pass, is still going to have that advantage. So it's where else on the track they're going to be using them is going to be the key. But yeah, Rob Butler to only have 4 push to passes left. Rob is in the sort of the bit of a sticky point here regarding the scenario. You know, Jordan and Jack, you know, they've got a bit left in their back pocket yet.
Well, they have indeed. And like I said, Jack McIntyre's got a bit more in his back pocket than Brennan, and a lot more in his back pocket than Butler. So, yeah, in terms of where he is, look at the gap. Actually, I'm just looking on the left-hand side. The gap has dropped down to 3 tenths of a second. They've both used push to passes again, both on the start-finish straight, I would imagine. So that's Luke Weston again doing a respectable drive in P8 at this moment in time. He's only 7 tenths away from Carroll. So this could hot up. You've got 2 minutes 50 seconds left, but this battle could really hot up, actually behind as well. Look at Andreas Rillig and Dan Zelos. Both of those drivers only about 3 tenths apart, so that's going to be a race that potentially could kick off in the closing stages of race 1. Oh, this is going to be close. Look at the time in town on the left-hand side. Jack McIntyre and Jordan Brennan. Oh, this is going to... Well, to be fair, look at Jack McIntyre. 2 tenths of a second is the gap. As I said, look at that. It's still a 3-way battle. I was actually looking at just Brennan and McIntyre, but the gap's still only about 3 tenths away. Oh, yeah, I'd want to be Jack McIntyre in this position. I think, to be fair, 1 more push to pass in a position. You've actually probably you've got front row seats to what's going to happen. You've got front row seats. You can almost let Brennan and Butler sort of dice it out a little bit, and then you can just capitalise on that position later, or potentially on that last real point. You've got an onboard shot now from Dan Zelos as Andreas really goes a little bit wide, going to go through turn 6. That's going to compromise again his line going through turn 7. Andreas Rillig has used a push to pass. Oh my goodness, Andreas Rillig only has 1 push to pass left. Dan Zelos has 5. I think that could potentially be, I wouldn't say a foregone conclusion, but I think Dan Zelos is in definitely a better position.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the record where Kenny Press has only just used his first push to pass in the race. Oh no, he hasn't. Sorry, that's a lie. There's 15, and he's. I was thinking it was 12. That's my bad. Sorry, that's my error. As we see, Jack Mack there's up the inside of Jordan Brennan. Or is he going to hang it around the outside? Jordan Brennan's hanging around the outside, going in the right hand. Has Jordan still got this advantage if he's late on the brakes? He's going to push Jack wide. Is he? Is he going to keep it up the inside?
Oh,
he has,
wow.
but Jack Mack's going around the outside of him.
Oh.
Great racing. This is exactly what we want to see, and I tell you what, Rob is in for a surprise here. Jack Mack's through. Jack's going to be hungry for this massively, but is Jordan Brennan in the power play position here? You know, he's behind, he's in the slipstream. A driver in front on the last lap may not necessarily be the best position to be in.
No, this is true, but look at that, Rob Butler. He hasn't used a push to pass. Jack McIntyre and Jordan Brennan both have. So this is, I think, I think Rob Butler may have used 1 or too many push to passes. So yeah, Jack McIntyre, he's got 4 left. Brennan's got 3. So actually, to be fair, Brennan and Butler, they do have the same point. Oh, this is going to be Dan Zelos going to go up the inside of Andreas, really going to go through into turn 1. Who is going to be last in the late break? Because it almost looks to be, I mean, Dan Zelos is alongside, but not by much. Luke Weston has actually got past Andy Carroll as well, we can see up ahead. Who is going to come out on top? Oh, that's Andreas Rigg that's going to come out on top going through turn 1, but he's gone a bit wide. Look at the cutback from Dan Zelos. Oh, that was a textbook cutback. Fair play indeed. He's we're just going to switch back to the leaders. Oh, this is going to be a battle. We've actually got 1 more lap after this. When the countdown finishes, we've got 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, and there we go. So that is, we can see now, as soon as they cross the line, that will be the last lap. There's 1 more lap once the timer counts down to 0. So Butler, I'm sure, didn't want to hear that. Obviously, Jack McIntyre and Jordan Brennan absolutely did. But yeah, Weston ahead of Carroll, Zelos ahead of Rillig.
Oh, this is going to get exciting, isn't it? Jordan's used his push to pass, I believe. He's right on the back of Rob Butler now. Jack's only just got the overspeed.
Oh.
But as we see, a bump there from Jordan Brennan with Rob Butler. And Rob Butler's actually back up the inside. Will Jordan Brennan get through as well? Jack Mark goes from 1st to 3rd in the end of 1 straight.
Oh, that was a bit of contact there as well from Brennan. But yeah, like you said, you saw Brennan a bit of bump drafting with Rob Butler. And yeah, like you said, Jack McIntyre has gone from 1st to 3rd in a space of about 150 metres. Bit of side-by-side action. Andy Carroll's now going to have back on Luke Weston. So he's now dropped back into P7. As I say that, no, Luke Weston decides to prove me wrong, and he's now went into, he's reclaimed that position. I think Carroll went just that little bit too wide and unfortunately has dropped back down. But obviously 1 more lap to go here, and Jack McIntyre's going to look around the outside going through into turn 13. That's very, very brave, Jack, but he's going to get the position if he can going through. No, he can't. Jordan Brennan, again, utilising some grip that he's just finding at this moment in time, stops on the apex, absolutely. Jack McIntyre can't quite find a way past. Look at the gap now, 7/10 of a second is the gap, and yeah, 7/10 of a second, last lap, that might just be enough, although to be fair, it might be enough of Rob Butler. I don't think the gap is going to be enough, though. Look at that, 2/10 of a second is Brennan and McIntyre. He is on his back bumper. So I think there's very much the battle for P2 at this moment in time. If Butler can hold his own, but he goes a little bit wide, you saw there, going through on the exit of turn 2. So he's now dropped a bit more position. Look at that. I mean, I think Brennan is just defending as hard as he can here, trying to almost slow Jack up as much as he can, trying to just put him out on every single position. Look at that, defending on the inside. This is a completely different line that he's taken through the entirety of this lap. And this is, again, look at that, Butler now, as the gap has gone up to about 8/10 of a second. So it's not over yet, but but Brennan is doing an absolutely staggering defensive drive here at the moment.
Yeah, I tell you what, this race is not disappointing, is it, at all? I mean, we're looking there. Jordan Brennan is looking on par. Actually, as I say that, Jack Mack has only just got through there. No, they haven't. The trader place again. This is phenomenal for a last lap shootout, isn't it?
It is indeed. It is indeed. They're still side by side. Who's going to be coming on top? Because, like I said, Brennan hasn't got any more push to passes, but Jack McIntyre still has one left. Is he going to try and use it as soon as he actually goes? I don't think he can. He hasn't got a position where he's actually going to use it, so this could be it. Obviously, well, actually, no, I say that. As long as Jack McIntyre can actually get the run going through onto the start-finish line, he might just have enough. He'll have one more push to pass in hand because he won't be able to use another one there. Jordan Brennan going to try and go around the outside. No, he goes wide going through into turn 9, so that's put him out of position. But he's almost got a bit of a cutback there, almost utilising and turning that small little error onto a positive, and he's now going to try and go up. That is going to be, this is a three-way battle now. Look at Dan Zelos. He's decided straight up the inside of Andy Carroll. Oh, bit of contact there as well. Oh dear. Oh, manages to keep it though. Fair play. What a save there from Dan Zelos. Yeah, that was a bit of contact. Unfortunate through there, but that was a very aggressive three-way battle for P7. I'm sure Luke Weston is now relieved to see that he just has to go through about 2 more corners, and then he will be the check. But look at that. Rob Butler takes race 1 victory. What a race from Rob Butler. Jack McIntyre in 2nd with Jordan Brennan in 3rd. Oh my goodness. I'm sure Rob Butler will be absolutely ecstatic with that. What a race we saw. This still isn't over yet though. Look at Andy Carroll. He's actually, no, to be fair, he's got one more push to pass. Dan Zelos hasn't. So there we go. Dan Zelos in P9 with Carroll 8th and Luke Weston 7th. Andreas Rilling had a very, very good scrap as well in P10. Kenny Press in 11th with Stapleford in 12th. We can see having an unfortunate incident that we couldn't quite see, unfortunately. Wow. Oh my goodness. I think, Dave, we do have, I believe we do have now. I've just heard them pop into the commentators booth, but I can't wait to have a chat with these guys and see what they thought.
I think we need a break after that one.
Oh dear, we will indeed. But yeah, Dave, like I said, I'll let you have a chat with them, and like I said, we can catch up and we can have a chat with them.
No, but so as we jump down into the interview booth, we'll go to only decide on the very last lap, 3rd place, Jordan Brennan. You know, this track, I don't know what it's like from a driving point of view, but honestly, spectating it as a commentator and people watching, that was amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was a good race. That, yeah, I don't know. There was quite a lot going on there. I just wanted Rob to get enough gap from Jack, but I think we started closing up at one point and it wasn't looking so good. And then I was like, right, I need to get back past Jack here and just try and hold him off a bit.
Yeah, I mean that straight. What's the strategy regarding that straight? Are you coming into it going, I don't necessarily actually want to be leading here because you know you can get the overrun on the car, or you're thinking you just want to hold the lead position at all times, right?
No clue. I think you do want to be on the behind coming on the back straight, but yeah, I don't know. That was a difficult race that towards the end, but I enjoyed every bit of it.
Good then, John. Well, good luck going into race 2, because if that first race is anything to go by, race 2 isn't going to be easy at all. So, good luck for that, and yeah, we'll see how we get on.
Thanks.
And on to our P2 guy, Jack McIntyre. Probably a little bit frustrated there, but it seemed like you played the push to passes probably slightly better than the other two there regarding strategy. You just had a little bit more left at the end to go for it, didn't you?
Yeah, that was kind of the whole strategy behind the race, was to just try and keep those push to passes as long as I could, and then try and use them at the end. Nearly worked, but it didn't quite work. I think Rob and Jordan just got going down the straight, and I couldn't really keep up. I think that was a lap before the end. So then I kind of knew going on for the last lap that I wasn't going to be able to win. So then it was just making sure I got the move on Jordan done, and then saved the passion. Used it at a weird moment right near the end, but I think that managed to just get me a little bit of a gap, so Jordan couldn't come back over the line. Yeah,
I mean, regarding the actual push to pass and stuff like that with that straight, how hard is it to calculate when you should be using it, or have you sort of got a strategy in mind when you're using it on the lap?
I've just been using it mostly at all the same places. Not put a massive amount of thought into it. I think it's reasonably obvious as to where it's going to give you the most gain. So I think you use it there every single lap, and then just keep the rest for other moments depending on what's going on around you. Like there's a few moments where it's a weird game of chess coming onto that back straight, and you think is the car ahead going to use his boost? And you kind of wait a few seconds, and then by that point you've gone past the point where you should use yours. But there was a few moments there where I think we both kind of chickened each other into not using our boosts when maybe we both should have just used them, and then we might have been up on Rob a bit easier. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, honestly, like, if I'm honest, from watching it as a spectator, and I don't know what you're thinking, Paul Ricard's like as a track, and I know we put in the track with the really long straight, which some drivers might think, I'm just sat here sort of waiting for something to happen. But, regarding the driving side of it, is it as good to drive as what it looks like on the stream? Because the racing there honestly looked intense for the full 20 minutes.
It's a hit and miss track. I think you either love it or you hate it. I was in the camp of hating it until a few weeks ago. I had a reasonably long endurance race here, and at that point where you just have to put so many hours into it, you kind of learn to love it. There's a lot of really weird corners and late apexes, so if that's not your thing, then you struggle a little bit here, which I think is probably the case for me. But the back straight's kind of nice, actually. Have a bit of a rest from the first half of the lap and gather yourself and figure out what you're going to try and do for the second half.
Oh well, that's great to hear you from you, Jack, and it's good to get a few insights regarding from the actual driver's point of view. So, good luck in race 2, because as I said to Jordan, it is not going to be easy from this far back on the grid. But yeah, let's see if we get any 6 wides going along that back straight.
Yeah, let's hope not.
And on to our race 1 winner. You put it on pole, and you've made it into a race 1 win. So congratulations, Rob. I take it that went about all the plan.
Yeah, it was. I actually made a mistake. I was trying to change my brake bias at the start, and I was kept pressing the boost button, so I lost about 3 or 4 boosts on the first lap trying to iron that out. But yeah, it was a mega race. I definitely need a heart transplant after that one, though, Dave.
I've got to admit, we did actually notice you used the push to passes quite quickly, which we were quite surprised about. So that actually makes sense now, what you're saying about, you use them because of the brake bias. But yeah, I mean, Jordan and Jack were both looking really racy towards the end there, was it? So do you think you're just using your tyres a little bit harder than them, or was it just a case of that slipstream is really that effective?
Lack of testing, Dave, to be honest. I've done about 15 laps before the event, so yeah, as you know, I'm under pressure in my personal life. I've got a baby due in the next 48 hours or so time is limited. But yeah, look, it's always good to have a teammate behind. Jordan definitely helped me out there massively, and yeah, it's time to return the favour and get back to the front, and hopefully race for 1, 2 and 3 with Jack again in race 2. So look, the 2 lads behind kept me pushing all the way, so let's see what happens in this one, Dave.
Yeah, well, the top 3 there definitely seem to have some really good speed there. So, if you can work with them 3 to go through the pack, then you're on a good recipe. But if you pull over in a hurry and you leave, we obviously know what it's for. So,
I ain't leaving, Dave. I ain't leaving now. Of course, if you see me escape, you know where I'm going.
I do indeed, and if I don't speak to you beforehand, good luck and hope everything goes okay with that side of it. I'm sure you'll be a great father.
Thanks, mate. Much appreciated.
And there we go, Dan.
And there we go. I am buzzing for race 2. It's going to be mega fun.
Yeah, I mean, for Rob to put that on pole with the lack of testing he's done, and the amount of other things he's thinking about, becoming a father in the next 48 hours. I mean, he's got a lot on his plate, and he's cool as a cucumber, isn't he, really?
It is indeed. Well, like I said, I mean, to be fair, it's definitely commitment, isn't it? Like I said, he knows. I mean, to be fair, like I said, Robert, he's a really, really good driver. He knows what he needs to do to perform, and as we can see that from then. So it's been absolutely fantastic. But we do have the reverse grid, which is going to throw a spanner in the works. It always does. It provides some very, very interesting racing of obviously people moving forward. I'm trying to think, who was that on pole position there?
Robbie Stapleford.
Oh, it's Max Goff is on pole position with Stapleford in P2. Yes, indeed, you are correct. So yes, like I said, Max Goff on pole. So what is he going to do here? We're going to find out in a few moments' time. But there we go. So the lights are on, just getting ready for race 2 of the League of Champions TT Cup. Lights are on, and away we go. Now, who is going to get the best start? All seems to be a bit even Stevens at this moment in time, but now this is where the push to pass comes into that. Stapleford going to go over on the outside, already on Goff, what is going to be the outcome going through here? Potentially 3 wide going to go through to turn 1. That's Dan Zelos, a car that you can't quite miss. Oh, no, that's going to be... Oh, I think that's definitely going to be a safety car, Dave. I'd put money on that, because that was just... Staplewood is not going to want a safety car, but I think that's definitely going to be something that kicks off. But apart from that, I mean, everyone actually seems to be sort of driving... I suppose apart from that, there was actually no real... Only a couple of cars lost out. Unfortunately, that was Brennan. Look at Jordan Brennan. So he's lost out. He's in P11. That's Dan Zelos that's going to lose out to Luke Weston, who's going to go up the inside of turn 3, going into turn 4. So he's now made that move, stick in a podium position. Look at that. Carroll doing really well in P5. As we've seen a couple of people on the left-hand side, so Robin Walters, he's down in P8 at this moment, so Dorman's in 10th, so he's lost out on a position. It's getting really, really bunched up at the back. You can see in the picture on pitch at the right-hand side of your screen. But Max Goff is just, like I said, in P2. A massive gap now between Zelos and Weston to him, but Stapleford, the gap is a second. So there's an absolutely massive gap. Oh, this is going to be interesting, chaps. Take it nice and easy. You've got 20 minutes worth of racing, but Dan Zelos, he's going to go through into a podium position. Can he do it? We're going to find out. Or they're going to go side by side. Are they going to do it into turn 8? I think they're going to try and go side by side into turn 8 for the first time. Tyres are going to be cold as well. Who is going to come out on top? It is going to be, at the moment, it's Dan Zelos, and it's still Dan Zelos going through turn 8. With Andy Carroll not too far behind. I mean, Dave, apart from that the little mishap at the start, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. So a couple of people just missed their braking markers. But apart from that, a relatively, I suppose, a comparatively clean start with the reverse grid.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take it back a bit what I said about this track at the start. Regarding the gravel traps and the painted area, you know, that was a bit frantic in turn 1 there. There was one car that got a little bit of a tap from behind. It just caused a chain reaction. One car got knocked sideways, but because it was a painted area on the runoff, all the cars managed to do safe rejoins and keep control of the car. So actually, maybe it has got its place on racetracks. I take my words back.
Well, I mean, I think it's relative, isn't it? It's definitely got... There's a time and a place for it. Unfortunately, I don't think that's all of the time. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. There are some places where having just that runoff would be good. Oh, look at that. So your face, Dave, is still on the top of Rob Butler's car. As we can see, it's going to go for the inside move up through, and that was going through up the inside of Andy Carroll. So he's made that move up into P5. I didn't know you were still a sponsor, Dave, on top of Rob Butler's car.
To be fair, you were saying about that last race. I didn't know about that either until it was pointed out. So I don't know whether he's done that as a bit of a mick take or what, but yeah, I guess I'm on there, so there you go.
There we go. Look at that, Jordan Brennan. He's up at a P9 now. He's just got past Robin Walters, so he is going to be a man on a mission trying to get through. He had the pace, obviously, in race 1. Is he going to do that in race 2? Stapleford actually got past Goff, as we can see. So Stapleford now the person leading this battle and leading the race at this moment in time. Look at that again, just the trainer cars. The gap hasn't actually opened up as much as I thought it was going to, but look at the Butler versus Weston. The gap has really come down. It's about 0.6 of a second. Oh, there's going to be some side-by-side action there. As we can see, there's actually side-by-side. Oh, I thought there was going to be a bit of side-by-side action there from Mcintyre and Carroll, but not at the moment. Or as I say that, there's going to be Luke Weston loses out to a position for Rob Butler, so he can't still quite get by. Oh, that was contact there. I think there was maybe a bit of bump drafting. Didn't quite work out. That's the problem with bump drafting. It doesn't necessarily work out all the time. Jack McIntyre, you saw for a brief moment, got up into P6, but now has lost that position again to Andy Carroll. He's now back in P7. He's also going to lose a position out too. That is Max Edmondson that's decided that he wants the piece of the action now in P7. So he's now taking, look at the timing tabs, just flipping back and forth and can barely keep up. Jack McIntyre's regained the position going through turns 10 and 11. Oh, that was quite close. Like, the timing tower is actually going so fast we can barely keep up, Dave.
Yeah, this is great racing again, isn't it, in race 2? You know, a relatively clean start, as you were saying before, a little bit of collision in turn 1. But this track and these cars is providing some absolutely hellish action.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Look at that, Edmondson. Actually, now Edmondson side by side with Carroll. So Carroll's going to want to make that move. He doesn't quite do it coming out onto the start-finish line. Have they used a push pass? No, Jack McIntyre has. Both Edmondson and Carroll have not. Jordan Brennan just behind, though. He's already up into P9, potentially going to go into P8. So look at that. Jordan Brennan is just a man on a mission, continuing that run. So he's now moved done and dusted already before turn 1. Is there going to be a move from Carroll? No, there is not. So the next person in Brennan's sights is Max Edmondson. And with the pace that Brennan has got, that's going to be something that Edmondson is going to have to really defend for quickly. Otherwise, that is going to go that's going to be a position loss for Edmondson very, very quickly if he's not too careful. Battle up ahead, though. McIntyre and Weston. Jack McIntyre wants to get past Luke Weston as quick as he can. He doesn't want to drop any more time. Going to go through up into the top 4 Is he going to make the move done? Yes, he does actually. He goes to go through the inside on turn 6. I mean, to be fair, that's a move nevertheless. However, he's got to be careful because at the moment he's now lost a position. Now he's going to lose the draft to everyone behind him. So you've got Western, you've only got 3 tenths and then 2 tenths from Emerson and Brennan respectively. So yeah, I think in all places to maybe actually overtake, that might have not been the best move. Luke Weston, you just saw on the back of your shot, has just now gone past Jack McIntyre, as we can see there now currently on the screen. Oh dear, Dave, this is going to be like this for the next 15 minutes if we carry on like this, because these guys are just showing no signs of stopping. There's no gaps opening up anywhere.
It is indeed, and if I'm honest, I'm looking at the lap times, and I tell you what, Rob Butler is a man on a mission. His last lap was a 2:07 dead. The whole gap in front of him, the top 3, are lapping late 2:07s and 2:08. So Rob, you know, he can smell this victory. He is pushing hard.
He is indeed. He's really pushing down. Look through the. Oh, that was, I think, that's Jordan Brennan capitalised on Luke. Luke Weston went slightly wide, and Jordan Brennan needed no second invitation. Decided to lick the stamp and send it, and he's now up into P6. Although Luke Weston wanted to have a move back, that's actually going to open the door for Max Emerson to go through. So Luke Weston's lost 2 positions, potentially 3. Bit of contact there from Carroll and Weston. A little bit more. Oh God, I thought it was going to be contact there. Blimey, that was close. Could not fit anything between those 2 cars. I dread to think how close that was actually going to be between those 2. But Carroll had a poor exit going through onto the last corner. That's actually now allowed Robin Walters to come through. Is he going to try and make a move on? Or just cut across? I mean, to be fair, it's sort of, he was clear, but he's still got to be a little bit careful. That's going to be 3 wide. That was 3 wide for a moment of time going through into turn 1. And that's going to be Carroll that's going to lose out. Or potentially he's going to lose out. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. Luke Weston has now gone up the inside of Carroll. So that is Walters has now got ahead. Carroll and then Weston. Dorman now is on the back of this. This 4-way battle has turned into, well, it was a 2-way battle, now turned into a 4-way battle, doubled in size in the space of about 3 corners. This is one of the things, I mean, it's great racing for us, not necessarily for the driver, because they want to have as clean a race as possible. They just want to crack on and have some laps, I suppose, if they want to make positions. I'm sure they're all going to be smiling at this race, because this is fantastic to commentate.
Yeah, honestly, you know, this race, as far as sim racing, these little bumps and that, you know, because the contact model is basically just, you know, a box around the car, you know, it's a case of little bumps like that look like quite major, but actually on board with the car and as the driver, it's not that bad at all. So this is pure enjoyment at the moment, I would say, for these drivers. Little taps and things like that, it actually adds to the excitement a bit, if I'm honest with you. As we see Dan Zelos, I believe this is a move trying to get past Goff, I believe. So if Dan Zelos can get past that, that's definitely what he's going to want to do in order to try and get a car between him and Jack Mack, because Jack Mack is definitely not hanging around either.
It is indeed. Look at that 2x2 Noah's Ark style. That's Carroll and Walters and Dorman and Weston. That's still. Oh no, that was contact there from Dan Zelos and Max Goff. I think Dan Zelos actually backed out of that. Yes, fair enough. Recognised a bit of contact, left the position go, and then off he goes. But that's now. Look at Jack McIntyre. Obviously, going to need no second invitation. Absolutely more contact there. This is getting so dicey. This is so good fun to watch. Jack McIntyre is now going to be on the inside for turn 13, but he's going to be on the outside for turn 14. As I said, who is going to be the last of the late breakers? Picture in picture now to the bottom right hand corner of your screen. That is Dan Zelos losing out to a position to Jack McIntyre, but this is now going through. So the picture on picture is now reversed. We've got in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, that's Weston and Dorman still having a bit of a battle. So those 2 are not wanting to give up positions at all. Is Jack McIntyre. You can see that moving over, as that is Max Goff moving over now. So he's got to defend. He's been defending for the last couple of laps from Dan Zelos. He's now got to defend from Jack McIntyre. So at the moment, Max Goff can't catch a break as he goes wider after the exit at turn 2. Is Jack McIntyre going to make the move? You can see on the timing tower it's just ticked over. So apparently Jack McIntyre is in 3rd, but Goff is not going to want to give up this position too easily. I think he went the cutback. I think he tried to go for the cutback. He didn't quite manage it, but that look from that camera angle, it looked like he really gave it a good old go, didn't he, Dave?
Dear me, this has got us right on the edge of the seat, and I'm not exaggerating there. I tell you what, there is some real feisty driving here, and some moves that, you know, it must be because it's getting towards the end of the League of Champions or the end of this championship or something, because there's drivers pulling moves that I haven't seen them do all season, you know, and there's no collisions. It is just great, solid racing. As we see, Rob Butler there has made the main move there to go into 1st place, but this is what I was saying before. He might have made that move too early, because look at Robbie. Is he going to get the closing speed back to put an overtake in the right-hander?
I know this is going to be so glad. The good thing about it is as we actually don't want to interrupt myself here, what's going to happen with Dan Zelos and Max Goff? I think Max Goff does indeed hold the position for this moment in time. Look at the battle ahead, though. So Butler and Stapleford. Butler's actually got ahead of Stapleford, so he's now the man in P1, the 74 car, but the 24 of Robbie Stapleford not too far behind. The gap is 3/10 of a second. Is there going to be a role reversal? Obviously, not the best move, not the best first race of Stapleford, but at the moment he's really pulling it out of the bag for race 2, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic performance. I was going to say, Dave, as well, I know we say it was coming to the end of the League of Champions. The drivers don't have to wait too long because we've got the League of Champions 2 starting at the end of March, which is going to be fantastic, and I can't wait for that to get underway, regardless whether I'm commentating or if I'm racing. Look at that! Oh, I saw some GT4. I'm sure I saw something in the background of a GT4 then. Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, so just while we're spectating the current Rob Butler and Robbie Stapleford fight on screen, we've got League of Champions 2 starting towards the end of March, but also in that period between the end of this League of Champions and the next League of Champions, we've also got a NASCAR round and a GT4 one-off races, as we see there, an entry fee of £15, and also an endurance GT4 race. We've got cash prizes on offer. Jump on VRRC Facebook page to go and get interested. A Tuesday night again, the same as League of Champions. Just a nice filler gap between the two. It'd be great to have a lot of new people join for them races, and keep expanding this community, because as you can see, the racing is great quality. It's good fun, and if this race is anything to go by, completely on your edge of your seat action.
Oh my god, absolutely 100%. And I mean, to be fair, from look at that, the snake weaving down the back straight. Look at that. We've still got more action. That's Dan Zelos. I think Jordan Brennan as well. They're going to be trying to, I think Jordan Brennan's just trying to stay in the slipstream as long as he can. Look at that. Dan Zelos decided no, he's not. You can see just out the back of shot. Actually, in the bottom right corner of the screen, just moved over to the big screen. Now that is Dan Zelos that's lost out the position. So Brennan's up into P4. 1.4 seconds is the gap to Jack Mcintyre, although Jack Mcintyre, look at the timings. He has been very, very fast indeed. What is going to happen? Well, to be fair, we've got 7 minutes and 35 seconds left. And really, Dave, we have absolutely no idea.
If I'm honest, I'll try and work this out before the end of the race, but as the points sit at the moment, Rob Butler is in first place. Now, he definitely got pole. I think he had fastest lap from previous race. He's currently got fastest lap from this race, and that's a 5-point differential. So I don't think he's done quite enough to win this championship at its current stage. But obviously we've got another round left to go in this. But I tell you what, this is shaping up to be really close at this stage between Rob Butler and Jack Mack for the championship.
It is indeed. It is indeed. It's so close, and it's just absolutely fantastic to watch. But Jordan Brennan's just put in the fastest lap, though, so 2:06.706. So he is not holding up at all. He's actually pulled out just under a tenth, I think, on Jack McIntyre. Actually, no, 2/10, apologies, for that particular lap. So
on cue, there's Rob Butler. That's lost a point.
Well, there we go. So, like I said, so Jordan Brennan, I mean, listen, he's going to want to be, I mean, if he can push his foot any further into the footwell on the throttle, I'm sure he will be trying to try and pull that gap down to Jack McIntyre. But the gap between Stapleford and McIntyre is coming down also. So that's a key thing as well to watch out for, is we got 6 minutes, 15 seconds. I think at the rate that McIntyre can pull, if he continues to do what he is doing, that gap is going to come down quite considerably fast. You can just see, just gone out of shot there is Jack McIntyre, but the gap is now 0.6 of a second to Stapleford. So, I mean, it's the gaps look relatively big, and that's one of the things that will not stay like that for long. If the lap times keep plugging away from the guys that are behind Stapleford and Butler, those gaps are really going to come down. Look at the gap now, 0.6 of a second between McIntyre and Stapleford. Edmondson, though, has actually dropped. He's pulled a bit of a gap. He's pulled a bit of a gap to Dan Zelos. I think he's got some time ahead of him to Jordan Brennan. He's got some time behind Dan Zelos, so he just needs to hit his marks, and then off he goes. Like he needs to try and obviously make sure he's nice and consistent, controlled as well. He doesn't want to be putting the front tyres under too much stress, because that's just going to overheat them. Oh my goodness, the battle for Jack McIntyre. He's decided that he wants to pull a second almost, or about 6-7 tenths of a second out of Stapleford. and he has decided that he wants P2 sooner rather than later. And I'm sure that means he's going to be, if he can get past Robbie Stapleford as soon as possible, he might even be on the charge for Rob Butler. We're going to have to see in a few moments' time what is going to happen here. Onboard shot with another onboard shot of virtual and real life, which is fantastic to see. So we can actually see what is going to happen here. The push to pass, there's not even a push to pass activated. There doesn't need to be, because Jack McIntyre had such a good run coming into turn one. I think the move is already going to be done and dusted. It's just ticked over on the timing tower. Stapleford doesn't even bother to defend going through into turn one, tries to get the cutback, but I think he's not going to be able to do it. Actually, as I say that, he's going to prove me wrong. He's going to give it a go anyway. Jack McIntyre, you can see visibly frustrated with that. He knows that wasn't the best run, and he knows that's just going to slow him up even more because he's going to battle with Stapleford. Oh dear. This is going to be hotting up, and I said 4.5 minutes left. These guys don't want to battle too much, Dave, because look at Jordan Brennan. He's not too far behind.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I'm seeing Jack here really driving quite hard, but for all the fact Robbie got through there, I don't see it being that big of a deal, because he knows fine well when he gets on this straight, he's right in Robbie's toe, he'll get the job done. He's second place, and he's obviously closed the gap up that much, so he's got a little bit of a pace differential. So Jack's probably a little bit annoyed that, he made the little bit of a mistake, but other than that, it's very much a case of it's all to play for second place, isn't it?
It is indeed. And to be fair, the gap's really sort of extended. 2.5 seconds now is the gap. 2 first positions. Yeah, the battle was very much on for P2. I wonder, Jack McIntyre wasn't really he was making a little bit of ground up, but not too much. I wonder maybe if he's conceded the fact he's not going to catch up with Butler. He's maybe just choosing his opportunity here, because the gap is actually extended a little bit from McIntyre to Brennan. It's 1.4 seconds as opposed to 1.1 of what it was. So I wonder if McIntyre's actually sitting behind it a little bit, maybe trying to sort of again plan his move. That's one of the things we've really seen. And again, another one of the things that we've seen for some of these drivers is the real mature drive of picking your opportunities to where to overtake, understanding where you're potentially faster, where you're potentially slower, and then moving on that opportunity when it comes up, rather than just sort of sending up the inside, hoping for the best. And much as sometimes that, it's almost a bit of a 50-50 if you do that. But actually, to be fair, I think that wasn't a particularly good entry going into turn 14 for Robbie Stapleford. So Jack McIntyre is pretty much going to be alongside almost before the start-finish line. No, he's not. Jordan Brennan uses a push to pass, and he's only got 4 left, as well as Stapleford and McIntyre. Is McIntyre going to go through? It's going to be a carbon copy of what we saw last lap. Is the move going to be stuck? I wonder if Stapleford, he backs out. He's going to try and get the cut back, but what is Jack McIntyre going to do? He knows what happened last time. Is he going to try and make the move stick? I think he's actually done it this time. Look at that. Very controlled, really well adjusted from Jack McIntyre. And the carbon copy of last lap, small little adjustment, and now he's, I wouldn't say comfortably, but he is in P2 nevertheless.
It was, and this is a great little battle developing here between Jack and Robbie. And Jack was on screen there, and it's one of the first times I've seen Jack. It really looked like he was enjoying that battle. He was egging Robbie to go. He wants to work with him and go forward, and he's pulling Robbie with him. I wonder whether he's thinking about the championship, whether he's wanting Robbie to try and be that buffer between him and Jordan for the championship.
Well, potentially, but the buffer that there is at the moment, it's now 7/10 of a second. Bear in mind, it was 1.2 seconds. So that buffer is ever closing. The gap is actually extending now. You can just see that a little bit. As I say that, apologies. The gap is actually coming down. So it's just over 3.5 tenths now. But I don't think his Stapleford's actually too far back. So, Jack McIntyre needs to hit his marks. He needs to just sort of check out at this point, which I think, to be fair, if he can maintain the last couple of laps of composure, we'll actually have one more lap after this as well. So we're going to have the last lap going through, a little bit wide there for Jack Mac going through into turn 9. The turn 9, the corner that goes on for what seemed like an absolute age, and there's 2 apexes, but it's still classed as one corner. That's probably one of my most frustrating corners I've ever driven on any track. It's just such a problem corner.
That one they've just done there is the one for me. That's the one I was on about at the start, where I said, you sat in the seat, and exactly where your apex is where that A pillar is in the car, on the left-hand side. The corner tightens, and you just can't see it. You just got to turn in blind, all about muscle memory. Blooming awful corner.
I know it is indeed, isn't it? But, to be fair, the drivers only have to go through it another 2 times, and that will be it. The battle is actually hotting up quite nicely for Western, and that is Western and Carroll that's still really kicking off in the background there. The gap is actually, so the gap is sort of maintained between Zelos and Walters. So, yes, the gap not going too bad. This is a battle here. Luke Weston's going to get the inside of Andy Carroll. Is he going to? He doesn't really defend, but again, he's going to try and probably do the cutback if he can. Is Luke Weston slightly offline, but I don't think. Actually, that was a move done and dusted. Good move there.
Great line choice. That's what I was on about them track limits. The red and white curbing is fair game. Where there isn't, the white line is the edge of the track limit. And Luke came over there, clipped the first curb nicely, threw the car over the second. Very much like you'll know what I'm on about. You're down with Knock Hill. Where you throw it left and then throw it right over through the chicane, and you're almost dancing the car through it. Just throw it over the crest, hoping that you're within track limits. You land and you're back on the power. So fair play, Luke. That was almost pinpoint perfect. That was indeed. You were absolutely right there, Dave. Like I said, really well adjusted, very well calculated as well. And yeah, you can see that with the driving. There wasn't too much movement in the car though. The car was sort of like, he turned the car in, he knew where it was going to go, and off he went. So like you said, similar to what you would find somewhere like Knock Hill, where you almost have to feel your way around, especially that section of the corner. But Andy Carroll's not having any of it. He wants that position back, and at the moment he has got that position back. But looking at it again, Luke Weston, he's only got one push to pass left. Andy Carroll's got two, but they're going to go side by side, going through into turn 8. Who's going to be the leader coming out of turn 9? It is Luke Weston yet again. I wonder, to be fair, Carroll probably doesn't know that Luke Weston's only got one left, and I don't think Weston knows that Carroll's only got two left. So, yeah, a little bit wide there for Carroll. That's definitely not going to hurt. That's definitely going to hurt his chances of actually trying to catch that position back up. It's now extended to 0.6 of a second. So not ideal there for Andy Carroll. But like I said, those two push to passes, they're a couple of tenths. So if he can, they're worth probably a couple of tenths. So if he can pull that position back up on Luke Weston, then, like I said, this battle may not be over yet. We are on the last lap as well. As you can see, white flag has been raised. You can see with the two little bars opposite so either side of the race text in the top of your screen. So that can confirm that we are on the last lap. This is a battle here. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is Stapleford and Brennan. So the battle for P3 is definitely not over, and Brennan's not going to want to take any prisoners whatsoever. He had a very, very good first race. What is going to be the case with the second? Obviously, Stapleford, this is a mega second race for him. Obviously, race 1 did not go to plan for him. But race 2, like I said, he's doing an absolutely stellar job. In the bottom right corner of your screen, there is Rob Butler. So the man with a 1.6 second lead on Jack McIntyre. But like I said, the battle raging on, the one to watch, Dave, is this one here, because we've only got, what's that, 7 corners left. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, so this is exactly what I was on about. Jordan's in the position here where he can sit behind, he can wait until the end, use his push to pass, but he hasn't. He's committed early. Robbie's going to tuck straight back in that slipstream, and Jordan might be leaving himself quite open for a late move into the right-hander at the end of this straight.
Indeed, well, we haven't got too long to find out. There is the move, so this is where he's going to have to be. Stapleton's going to have to go around the outside of Brennan if he's going to make him go the long way round again. Bit of contact there as well. He tries to shuffle up the inside. I think he's actually done it, What's Brennan going to do? I don't think he's actually got an answer for him at this moment in time. The only thing he can do is hold it around the outside and try and get the cutback. He's gone very, very wide, both utilising all the track available to them and a little bit more. But look at that. Stapleford has got the position, but Brennan's now going to come back going through turn 10 and 11. Who is going to be the person out on top? I really don't know. We haven't got very long to find out, unless there are 3 more corners left. Rob Butler's only got 2 more corners left, and then he will be the race to victor for this TT Cup for round 3. 1 more corner to go, Robbie. Just keep it nice and straight. And there we go. Look at that. Rob Butler does take the win for race 2. Fantastic drive from him there. Jack McIntyre takes second, you can see. But the battle's still not over. Oh, no, that was not going to do. Stapleford has a really, really slow start. What's going to be the case here? That's going to be, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. No, he's not. So Stapleford still manages to just take... Oh, my goodness. How on earth did Stapleford still get... I don't know what happened there. He had such a, like a really poor run out of turn 14, and he still managed to keep ahead. Andreas really, look at that, P11, and then Kenny Press 13th with Goff in 12th. Oh,
Yeah, you know what happened there? It was a case of Robbie Sturtevant went super defensive into last corner to make sure Jordan wasn't going to put the dive up the inside. Jordan Brennan read that perfectly and went, right, you're going to put your car there. I'm putting it right wide, going to get the overrun around the outside. And Robbie, mid-corner, was like, oh heck, he's going around the outside, trying to run Jordan up to the track limits. And oh my God, that was an action-packed last corner, wasn't it?
It was indeed. It was indeed. But we do have, I'm just conscious of the time here then, Dave, but we do have some drivers to interview, which is obviously always fantastic. I'm intrigued to see what Robbie Stapleford has to say, because, oh my goodness, fair play. But yeah, Dave, like I said, I'll let you have a chat with them. And yeah, like I said, I can't wait to hear what these guys have to say.
We'll jump straight down. And into the interview box, My God, Robbie Stapleford, last corner. Do you want to make it any more tense?
Yeah, well, that was good second race, started from second and then got a gap at the start and then Rob just caught me up and then couldn't keep Rob behind, so Rob just left me and then Jack started to catch up. I kept Jack behind for a couple of laps and then he got me and then it was getting close to the end of the race and then Jack just dropped me in like 2 corners and then got to the end of the race, Brendan got to me and then I just defended for third and then he got me down the straight and then I just got him back in the last sector.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic last lap, but we'll quickly touch on your battle with Jack Mack there. You know, we saw, Jack get the job done, and then you got an amazing undercut into the last sector, but unfortunately that then put your foot in the lead going on to the straight, and then Jack overtook you. But, we've seen some great racing from you today, and that last lap, go back on YouTube, have a watch of it, because that was insane to watch. Huge congratulations, Robbie, and a well-deserved third place there, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
And on to our second place finisher, Jack Mack, second time on the night. Yet again, great pace and some great battles again through the pack.
Yeah, that was good. I think my strategy at the start was to try and get to the front as quick as possible, ideally quicker than Rob, but that didn't work. I had a really awful start, and I kind of got bunched up behind a lot of cars, so I kind of knew that was off the cards already. But yeah, fought through quite well, got through quite cleanly, and then saved up a few push to passes to make the fastest lap as well, just near the end. So that was a good race.
Yeah, well, I actually missed the fact that you got pushed to pass fastest lap there, but fair play for getting that on probably extremely worn tyres as well. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't take in how good that race was. That is genuinely one of the best tracks and car combos I've seen for a set of races. I don't know whether from a driving point you'd agree, but honestly that was so action-packed and relatively good battles regarding how clean they were as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't remember a single incident or seeing anything that I thought wasn't really on. That was really good racing from everyone, and it was really good fun tonight. So just for 2 seconds.
Can I just say, I spotted a smile down that straight when you were battling with Robbie as well. So you've got your sort of concentrating face, but you definitely dropped it. I'm quite enjoying this in the middle of that straight, so it's great to see.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, he takes sim racing quite seriously, so it's good every now and then to try and chill out and focus on not just trying to win everything. So it's it's always disappointing not to win, but it was great fun tonight. So happy with that.
Great, thanks for that, Jack, and congratulations on your double second place tonight.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And on to our race winner. He's expecting a baby in 48 hours, and he goes and puts it on pole and gets a double win. I mean, a fair, perfect night, that, Rob.
Yeah, now I know how it feels like to be Dave the Machine Marshall. Is this how you feel every week, is it?
I mean, how do I answer that?
Yeah, look, it was one of those races. Look, as Jack said, a massive well done to Jack, and obviously Robbie on the podium as well. Jack pushed me hard all night, as he ever does, and either he's pushing me or I'm pushing him, and I think tonight really showed a track where sim racing comes into its own in terms of how it should be. Like, these cars obviously have push to pass, it becomes tactical, you've got plenty of room to overtake, heavy braking zones, fast corners, onto long straights, and you see the results, and it's a massive well done to all you boys at VRRC on picking these tracks for this series that have been mega today. Laguna Seca, Monza, and now Paul Ricard. The whole series has been mega with the TT Cup, so a massive well done to you guys.
Cheers, and thanks for that, Rob. If I'm honest, Paul Ricard wasn't a track that I initially thought of, but I thought these run-offs without the gravel could be, a bit hit and miss, but it has provided probably the best racing I've seen with this car combo. What a race that is. Go back and have a watch of that, because honestly, that has been mega from start to finish, and huge congratulations on almost a maximum point round for you here, and hopefully you carry it forward into next week. But obviously, if your new Benz arrive by then priorities take place. But fair play, Rob. Nice racing.
Yeah, well, I think we're leading. I assume we're leading the championship now. I think the gap was about 6 points to Jack. So I think I've got 7 more than I'm possibly not. I don't know. It's very close anyway. But yeah, really looking forward to the last round, and hopefully the racing is just as good. If you might remind me where we're racing though, Dave, because I don't actually know.
Silverstone GP, man.
Even better. At least I know which way it goes. So
The whole
we'll stick to. Hey, that's your opinion. Now, come on. What about Monza? What about Monaco? No, Mondello Park, definitely not the home of motorsport. But you know, that's definitely an Englishman. No, the home of motorsport, Silverstone. It has to be Monaco, surely.
Well, it's definitely the place of the rich. But great race tonight anyway, Rob. And yeah, congratulations with the results. And we'll look forward to seeing you next round. And good luck with the little sibling.
Thank you, mate. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye bye.
And there we go, Dan. There's the driver interviews. I've noticed Rich Hayden's actually jumped down in the interview box there. I don't know whether we're going to jump down and give him an interview as well. No, he's just jumped back out. So that is a no, and we'll probably catch up with him next round. What a night, eh?
I know. What a night. That was absolutely fantastic. I can't already wait for the next one, obviously. And that is we're actually going to move down. We're both going to move into Discord, I think, Dave, because we have got Rich. We've got Rich Hayden in the comments. So let's wrap up. Well, he was. I think he keeps sort of darting in and out. He's playing with us at the moment. He doesn't quite know that if we're coming or going. But we may have a chat with him for a brief moment. But at the moment, like I said, we'll carry on as we are. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. You got the final round for the first League of Champions. It's been a fantastic 3 seasons going forward, and a completely different track with completely different challenges, which is going to be fantastic to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rich has finally stopped doing the hokey-cokey, and I believe he's here now, is he?
I don't know. Rich, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm just putting my left leg in.
Oh dear. I mean, to be fair, Rich, that was what did you think of that? That was fantastic from our side.
Yeah, it was a bit of fun, that, wasn't it? A little bit of tactics coming into place. I think everybody learned quite quickly not to use that push to pass button too early on that main straight.
I know, I think this was the things that me and Dave were saying, wasn't it, Dave? It's just like, where do you use it? It's a straight that's about 6 miles long. Whereabouts do you actually use the thing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was good fun. Looking forward to the last round next week. And then we've got another couple of one-off races. We've got the NASCAR in Indianapolis the following Tuesday, and then a GT4 endurance race at Spa-Francorchamps the Tuesday after. And then we're looking at getting League of Champions 2 kicking off after that.
That's going to be, I can't wait. I can't wait for that. That's going to be, I mean, all of the different things that you guys put on, it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, like I said, the first League of Champions for me and the first League of Champions for everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure to commentate on it. It's just been fantastic. Thank you very much for having me and letting me be a part of it.
No problem at all. Thanks very much, guys. You know, you two you're now known as the Double Ds. Don't you know that, don't you?
Well, we saw about that yesterday. There's a couple of comments have come through about saying that we're the Double Ds now. So,
real that just the jokes that went through my head when I saw that was brilliant. But yeah, you are now both known as the Double Ds.
Well, there we go. I mean, to be fair, there's worse names to be known as.
On that note, I'll leave you to wrap up.
Cheers, Rich. Take care.
I thought we got away with not bringing that back up that.
Oh dear. There we go. Like, see on your screen now. There we go. NASCAR Indianapolis. NASCAR, like I said, not necessarily my first joy when I actually drive, but my God, when they're on, they're so much fun to watch. Yeah, look at that League of Champions too. I can see some things in the background. I see a flat 6 there as well. Oh, this is going to be. Oh, I'm getting a bit excited. It hasn't even been released yet. But no, fantastic stuff, absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. As much as myself and Dave and Mike would love to be doing this all night, unfortunately, we do have to call it a day. Thank you, everyone, as always, for watching. It's absolutely been a pleasure. Big thanks as well, obviously, to Mike Yout on broadcast, providing us with some fantastic camera angles, as always, to commentate on what has been a fantastic round and definitely one of my favourites. I don't know about yourself, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not say that was one of your favourites? It was action-packed from the very start of the race all the way to the end of race 2. Mega.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, next week we are back for Silverstone for the final round. I hope to see you then. It's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, before we do go, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Like if you can as well. Get involved as much as you can. If you do also want to get involved with racing, head over to Virtual Reality Racing Club, the website, and then join the Discord server. You have all of the information there. But until next time, everyone, make sure, as always, you take care and stay safe.
Between the two of them!
The inside of coats.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Woo!